Hello and welcome to this video tutorial. Today I will be going over how to use the forms to do all of the estimated quantity report tabs. So again, the EQ report. The EQ report calculator no longer exists. All of the calculations and estimations can be done in the new forms that was just released in June 2022, and they're based on updated guidelines from June 2022, the staff hour guidelines. So first we'll start with tab 3, which is the project general task. 3.3.2 is the estimated quantities report preparation. Again, this task is meant for the lead designer, whoever is preparing the estimated quantities reports and all the components. As you can see, all the calculations will be done just like the calculator, but it will be done in these forms. So in this case, any items in red, numbers in red, are meant to be filled out. So you'll fill out these units or parameters. So in this case, a report and the component, it'll give you a calculated value. And then based on that calculated value, that's a recommended value. And then this red number will be the actual negotiated value that you want to use for the project, and it'll sum up in the total hours right here. That's why it's in red. And then you can do your documentation over here. So in this case, 3.3.2, it's based on the report. So we'll hover over, is an EQ report required for this project? It's a yes or no, 1 or 0, 1 being yes, 0 being no. So if you enter in a 1, it'll recommend the hours. You can't enter in anything other than 1 or 2. If you enter in a 2, you'll get an error message right here, 1 or 2. So in this case, we'll have a 1. Then it also gives hours based on the number of components for the EQ report. So whichever components, however many that you have for the EQ report, be it drainage, structures, roadway, siding, pavement marking, lighting, signals, ITS, and landscape, right? So that's up to 8 components, right? So we'll have 8 in this case. So it recommends 32 hours. See, and then there's also another note, consider adding 4 hours to the calculated hours when required. You include the EQ report with the phase 2 submittals. So right now the EQ report is designed to be submitted phase 3 and on. So phase 3, 4, and so on until final plans and letting. Sometimes you might want it submitted in phase 2, so consider adding 4 hours. Let's just say we're going to do that. So we'll give 36, right? 4 plus 32 is 36. So we'll do 36, and that'll kind of be how you do that. Let me go over to the components and show you how they're calculated. So we'll start with 4. Again, in the components, the EQ report quantities, estimated quantities is located in the analysis tabs. So we'll scroll down. Roadways, actually we made some changes in this update. So you can see that there's actually a new task, 415 and 416, both deal with quantities. The first is roadway quantities, and 16 you can see is all the temporary traffic control plan quantities. So the roadway is based on a couple things, and again, check out the guidelines. They'll explain it a little further on how these calculated numbers come about, but it's based on length, complexity, and if you have any interchanges or rest areas. So let's just put in an example that we have a 2.5 mile project. We go with the complexity based on the roadway guidelines. That's the overall project complexity. We'll just go with the mid-range for this project. And then we'll do estimated number of interchanges or maybe rest areas. Let's just say we have 1 on this project. It'll recommend 86 hours. Again, you could add the 4 hours too if phase 2 is required. We will in this example, so 90 hours, right? There we sum up our 90 hours. Temporary traffic control quantities for this one is based on complexity. There's a good definition, and that's straight out of the guidelines of what you would have. So simple isolated areas with 1 major phase, standard level 1, and complex level 2. We'll just say standard. And then we'll do number of major phases. You can see right there, simple, typically 1 major phase, standard 2 to 3. Again, these are guidelines, so you'll have to use your unique project, but we'll just do, it's a standard that there's 2 phases and it recommends 16 hours. We're going to do phase 2 requirements, so in this example we add 4 hours again. That's how you do the roadway estimated quantities report calculation. Next, we'll go over to 6A, which is drainage. And as you can see in 6A, it's 6A16 drainage quantities for the EQ report. It's based on drainage structures, so the estimated number of drainage structures. Let's just say we have 20. It'll give us the calculated hours. Let's change that to 50. There we go, 12 hours. And then we'll add 4 hours for the earlier phase, so 16. That's drainage structures right there. We will then go over to structures. That's in tab 9, all the quantities. So we've got 9.8 structures quantities for the EQ report. There's a couple things. So we've got bridges, walls, and then box culverts. So in this case, we'll do number of bridges. Let's just say 2. Let's just say we got 2 walls as well. And we'll do 2 box culverts. It'll recommend the hours, again, based on the guidelines. For more details, just check out the guidelines and what they say, and it'll tell you exactly how it's getting to this calculated value. Again, if you want to do phase 4, we add 4 hours, so let's just put 40 in there, and that covers 9.8. Any comments or documentation over here. The next component that has quantities in it would be signing and pavement marking analysis. Right here, 19.7. Signing and pavement marking quantities. Again, it's similar to roadway. It's based on length. Let's just say we have 2.5. We'll use kind of the same. Based on range, which is you can go to the signing and pavement marking guidelines down here. I'll just use mid. And then number of interchanges or rest areas. Let's say there's 1. 30. We want to add 4 hours. 34. That's it. And that's how you calculate that. So you have to manually enter in this red number based on these calculated hours. Again, you don't have to use 30 hours. That's just a recommended starting point. So you could negotiate that. Yeah, it says 30, but this job's a little more easier, even though it's a 2.5 mid-range. We'll give you 4 hours, but let's just say 24. So let's just say they ended up finally negotiating 28. And you can document over here, includes phase 2. Submittal. Stuff like that. That's how these sheets are intended to be used. Alright, the next one we have is the signalization analysis. That's in 21. So signalization quantities for EQ report based on signalized intersections. So estimated number of intersections that require new or replacement signals. Let's just say 4. 32 hours. We can add the 4 for the phase 2. And document that we did that. 36 hours. That one's pretty straightforward. The next one's a lighting analysis, 23. So 23.8. We've got based on number of light poles, estimated number of light poles on the project. Let's say we use 45. Again, same thing with the 4 if we want to add it. Say 39 hours might be too many. It's going to be real easy to do the quantities for these. So let's just say we do 30 plus 4, so 34. All right. And you can document why you use 34 and not 39 in the comments. We've got landscape analysis, 25. Landscape has some quantities as well. Gotta scroll on down here. 25.7. It's based on just the complexity of the project. So you'd use your landscape guidelines to determine the complexity of the project. Show you that real fast. Here's low, mid, upper types of projects. Drop it down. We'll just say we have mid. We'll say that 24 hours is a little shy, and we are doing phase 2 submittal, so we're gonna up that to 30 plus 4, so we'll do 34. And again, that's what the final negotiated number is, and it'll sum up the total down here at the bottom. All right. Then last but not least, we've got ITS analysis that uses quantities and 33.13 ITS quantities for EQ report. This is based on ITS installations. So estimated number of ITS installations, poles, base mounted cabinets, DMS hubs for the project. Let's just say we have 10, gives us 32 hours. Again, +4 if we want to say we don't need phase 2 submittal, we'll submit these at phase 3, so we'll just use the 32 hours, enter that in manually, and document. Doesn't include phase 2. That's it. If you have any issues with any of these calculations or any questions regarding these estimated quantities tasks and how to use them in the forms, please don't hesitate to give me a call. Ryan Bucket, Central Office. You'll find my name on the website. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and found it helpful. Thanks.